It's super easy to just float through life making the same mistakes, failing to implement systems that work for yourself, and ultimately just stunting your growth and your progress. You see, if you don't make a conscious effort to identify what works and what doesn't work, how can you apply or remove them from your daily life? How can you hope to be better? Reflecting is obviously a key part of success, and it is something that I've been doing for months professionally and for a little while in my personal life. It is a fact that without reflection you can't improve, because what are you going to improve on? You have to identify these problems before you can take action. If I haven't performed well that day in work, I can't come back the next day just saying today will be better, without first saying, well, why was yesterday not a success? You need reflection to come up with that game plan. For work, we break down our day not only by looking at our numbers, but why our numbers are not optimal. Like, I can say, oh, I didn't stop as many people today, but that doesn't really help me move forward if I don't assess why I didn't stop as many people. It is important to reflect on your successes and your failures. That way you know that, yeah, my attitude today was good, so I'm going to continue with that, but I could have set a better pace and been more urgent, so that's what I'm going to focus on implementing tomorrow. Having reflected on our performance, we can come up with a game plan. For me, personally, it helps to write a page in my notebook of the area that I want to improve, and then a checklist of actions that will help me improve on that area. Throughout the day, I'll make a conscious effort to tick off these actions. This is a system that obviously works very well in a professional environment, but I started to realise that I wasn't where I wanted to be in my personal life, and I wanted to be better. So I asked myself, what makes me more successful at work than in my personal life? And I realised that answer was reflection. I always know what is going right and what is going wrong in work, but I didn't really have that same system in place in my personal life. So I bought a journal and said that every night I'm going to reflect on the positive and negative aspects of my day. Almost immediately, my days had more structure and I was experiencing more wins, as I couldn't get to 11 PM and say I sat in bed all day and did nothing, because that would be quite embarrassing. I definitely implemented advice from my managing director here. When we were going through his expectations of me once I'd been promoted, he told me that if he doesn't get everything done that he intended to in that day, he'd genuinely be so pissed off when going to bed that he couldn't sleep. So I did reframe that in a way that would work for my plans and my own personality. So I sat down and I asked myself, what things can I do in a day that will make me proud by the time I come to reflect? I started small. I didn't want to overwhelm myself with a million habits immediately, because that would be setting myself up to fail. I identified 3 areas I'd like to initially pursue. Did I learn something today? Did I exercise/move at all? And did I read something? These weren't majorly difficult things to achieve. I only had to read like 1 chapter of a book to be satisfied. And as that was a chapter I wouldn't have already read, it did feel like a win. Movement could be small things like push-ups or dog walks. It was enough to start building small habits that made me feel good about myself, and the reflection part of my evening held me accountable. Like, how embarrassing would it be if I'd had nothing to do all day and couldn't even read 20 pages on the book that is literally on my nightstand, or I couldn't even get up and just do 10 push-ups and call it a day. I wanted to avoid falling short of my targets and having to write down, no, I didn't do 3 of the easiest habits ever, was the best way of preventing this from my personality. Instead of sitting there at 11 PM thinking I've just completely wasted a day, which is a position I was in quite frequently before doing this, I'm now able to sit there and think, I might not have done a lot today, but I'm proud that I did what I said I was going to. And that was the game changer for me. It really helped me to have that more positive outlook on life. Of course, I've only been reflecting in my personal life for a few weeks, so time will tell as to whether I fall off a bit and don't achieve my goals, but that's okay too. Over time, I'll collect enough data to identify success points, and if I have a bad day, I can actually identify the problem and aim to cut it out completely. There'll be no more hopelessly wondering why my life's a mess, because reflecting has helped me take control and realise that a lot of issues can be fixed with small habits and intentionality. I will leave a picture of one of my entries at the end of this video if you want to use it as like a guide or a template for reflection. It's nothing too crazy, it's just a paragraph and a checklist, but it has really changed the way I see my days now. If you like this video, please feel free to subscribe and comment. I'm happy to discuss it with you guys further. If you have any suggestions or future ideas of discussion, please feel free to let me know. I do want to offer whatever help I can for people, and so I'm happy to approach specific issues that you want to face. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.